All right, how's it going? So we create depth in our mixes by using high pass filters as well as low pass filters. So we're going to dive into this just a little bit before we talk about what I really want to talk about today, and that is creating width, or essentially a wide mix. How do you create a wide mix? So high pass filters can be used to bring sounds closer or further away by making your signal brighter or perhaps more present. Again, quickly talking about creating depth, that is front to back space, okay? Cutting some of the high end darkens the sound to pull it to the background of your mix. So just think of it as the higher frequencies are brighter and therefore more present, more upfront. So if you bring those down a bit with, let's say, high pass filters, then you can essentially darken your mix, right? Darken your EQ, for example. Darken the EQ on your reverb, for example, or perhaps even your delays. And so by having a darker EQ, you're essentially pulling it to the back, having it less present. But I want to talk about stereo image, and essentially, let's talk about stereo width. So we'll dive into the depths of creating a deep mix in the future, but for now, let's talk about creating contrast, okay? So we create wide mixes by creating contrast, all right? Create more contrast by using less incremental pans. Just take a look at some of these. You'll notice that I've got them set hard panning left or hard pan right, or even straight down the middle, all right? 3 major positions. That's the secret. That's the secret to wide mixes, okay? So you can create more contrast, again, by creating less increments in the pans, so using less incremental positions in panning, right? And, essentially hard panning left, hard panning right, and straight down the middle, right? I would say to use the increments within panning when certain parts are clearly conflicting, but you don't necessarily want them hard panned left or right. Otherwise, start simple, right? Another thing is your effect sends and returns can help you to pull the mix together. So your reverb, perhaps your delay, if you take a look over here, I've got a few different channels here. And all of these instruments are sent here to some varying degree. And I'll show you that right now, okay? Let's just look into the effect rack, and you'll see straight to the bottom, you'll look at some of the sends, and you'll see that they are each sent to a variety of these channels, okay? And I've got everything solo just so that I can easily switch in between, perhaps take some of these off, right, if we want. And you can hear that even though this particular sound is hard pan left, and this one's hard pan right, they're still representing something in the stereo field, okay? Just take a look. It's a wide mix, but also let's solo this and get this away and actually drop the drums. Let's leave the piano for now as well, okay? These are hard pan left, this and the the guitar. They're both hard pan left, but with the way they're sent, there's still some signal coming to the right side. So hard panning left or right is not, and straight down the middle is not a bad thing in any way. It's actually simplifying things and helping you to compartmentalize things a lot more simply, okay? Contrast is key to stereo width, essentially, right? Because nothing is wide or narrow unless it's compared to something else, right? So this means having less random wide pans in your mix could be a benefit. And also, let's look at it in a different way. Perhaps they're random, but they also may be more sensible pans. But essentially, what these random or sensible pans tend to do is they tend to pull your sounds together by creating less contrast overall, okay? I think it's a simple concept, and I think everybody can understand this. If you're pulling things together with half pans, maybe quarters here, and maybe a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left, what you're essentially doing is you're creating less distinction between the space You're bringing things together. You're making them more closely related to something else in your mix, right? So a couple of quick tips that I'd say for creating wide mixes. Perhaps you can try hard panning these instruments, such as your main rhythm guitars, okay? Perhaps try hard panning your acoustic guitars, maybe even your backup vocals or background vocals. Also, vocal doubles, try to hard pan those while you have the main vocal straight down the middle, right? Pianos, pan them straight to the hard left, hard right. And of course, overheads, right? For your drums and such. Hard pan those, create way more space with that, all right? Here's some feedback on both the Spacer and the Stereoizer plugin. Let's pull them up right here. And let's just replace this because I don't really need this right now, but let's just take a look at Spacer and Stereoizer, these two plugins right here, okay? Now, I think Spacer and Stereoizer can be used to generate creative effects like the Haas effect, which we spoke about in previous videos, and other phaser style modulations. So I wouldn't say that these effects are useless. I would just say that they may not necessarily be absolutely effective at creating genuinely wide mixes, right? Because oftentimes they use shifting in time, things of that nature, to create an illusion of separation, which is not bad, but it may not necessarily be genuine separation. It's kind of, dare I say, more of a trick. Again, not bad, but it's more of a trick, if I could say, okay? Guys, use these tools to maximize your production and take everything you're doing to another level. Why not, right? Whether you're using Stereoizer or Spacer or any other such effect and you're panning incrementally, it's up to you guys. Again, use your ears, but I want to encourage you in this video and going forward with your mixes and masters and your productions to consider using a simple approach: hard panning left, hard panning right, and center. Find a balance in there. Look at your overall stereo image, but also use your headphones, use your speakers, sit in a good position, and just listen. Does it sound complete? Are your effect sends and returns helping to create more of an immersive sound that draws all of your hard pan sounds together, right? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, your ears will tell the true story. And when you're mixing or mastering, I guess in this case, after you've completed a great mix, in mastering, perhaps they can address some of the width concerns and the stereo imaging a bit at that point. But initially, getting a wide mix to your mastering service provider can simply be achieved by hard panning left or right, guys. So thanks for checking this one out. Winning with Blends, Justin Blends again. Follow the link to join the community of creators, guys. Do you have a project? Let us know. I want you guys to watch this video on the Spacer plugin so you can dive in a little bit deeper on some of this tech and some of this very useful education. All right, guys, all the best until next time. Take it easy.